Another way of doing reconnaissance in a passive way is to use something called P0F. This is a way of doing passive fingerprinting, and I'm just going to run this. And then I need to generate some traffic. So I'm going to go do a little bit of web browsing here. So we're going to connect to some web servers. Let's go to O'Reilly.com, for example, and then we could go to Cali.org. Then we could go to Microsoft.com. So we've got a number of pages here, and apparently Firefox doesn't like this particular connection, but we still should have gathered some traffic from there. So now I'm just going to kill this, and I'm going to scroll back up and see what we have turned up from the sites that we have gone to. Now, this really does look a little bit arcane, but when you look at it, you can see that what P0F does is it pulls apart the packets it is capturing and it prints out what we have captured in a way that makes more sense. So, for example, what we've got here is a connection from my local system here, which is this one. And the port number is 58994. That's an ephemeral port. And we're going to 72.167.18.239 on port 80. This is an Ethernet connection. And then the maximum transmission unit, the raw MTU, is 1500 bytes. We were able to get that. Now, that's on my local network here. So there's nothing particularly fancy about that. It's Ethernet. We expect it's going to be 1500. If we continue scrolling up here, though, we should be able to turn up some information about the different servers that we were communicating with. As an example, it looks like 72.167.18.239 is running Linux. So, based on what P0F was able to determine from the way the packet looked and the signature of the various header fields, it was able to determine that the operating system is probably Linux 3.11 or newer. There are a number of other signature items that P0F is capable of looking at. If we were able to pull up one of the HTTP connections, you could see it was able to determine the server type, not only the operating system in some cases, but also the web server. So here's another one. It figures out that it is running Linux 3.x, and this is a different server altogether. So there are a number of things you can determine just by running P0F as you are communicating with your target. And you don't have to go through the effort of grabbing packets and digging through the frames individually yourself. You can use P0F to do some of the analysis for you. And then you can just look at the output. And as you can see here, there is a fair bit of output that you've got to scroll through because it does pull a lot of information out of each individual packet. But as you're doing a lot of capturing of data and communication with the different servers, you will find that P0F can help you really sort through some of what you're looking at. And it does this in a passive way by just observing the traffic in normal communications that you are going through with your target.